Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jaden, and I am a Bible believing street preacher based in New York City, King James only. And this study is going to be on, can a Christian drink alcohol? Now, wine and alcohol they're one of the greatest idols in modern Christianity. You got these guys out here that are like, no, 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 the Bible just says you're not allowed to get drunk. It doesn't say you can't drink it at all. No, that's not true. I'm going to show you basically what the Bible says about this. Now, there's a Bible believer, an older gentleman, John Davis. He's done a pretty irrefutable expose on this, like it's in his Christian battle notes. But I'm going to present it a different way than he does, and I'm going to actually go into a verse. There's one verse in Deuteronomy that these guys use to prove that you have a license to drink. And this is just one of those cases of people wresting the scriptures to their own destruction because they don't know the law of Moses. I know the law of Moses, so I'm going to show you what it actually says. So without further ado, let's just get started. All right, so should a Christian drink wine? Well, first of all, we need to define what that word means. By the way, before I get started, let me just ask you a question. Can you drink wine? Would Jesus drink wine? No, he wouldn't. In John chapter 2, that was not alcohol, fermented liquor. That was grape juice. But we're going to go into all this stuff, okay? So, wine. I suppose I should do this. We got wine. Okay. There's a difference between wine and strong drink. Okay. When you read the word wine, it's not always talking about fermented liquor. It could be talking about new wine. So you have to read it in context. Let me show you this. Go to the book of Isaiah 65. Now, sometimes they use the term wine and strong drink interchangeably to refer to the same thing. But sometimes it's also wine as in new wine. I'm going to define what new wine is according to the scriptures. No need for the Greek or the Hebrew. Throw it out. Isaiah 65 and verse 8. Thus saith the Lord, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one saith, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it. Okay. Now, the rest of that is not as important. I want to focus on that part right there. As a new wine is found in the cluster. So, let me ask you a question. What's a cluster? Well, it's talking about the grapes. So we're going to do little grapes like this. All right. So we have this little grape here. Now, this is the cluster. This is the cluster. It says that new wine is found where? In the cluster. And it's referring to the cluster of grapes because the way people used to do it is that they'd have a wine press where people would crush the grapes and then that would make the wine, right? So this new wine is found where? In the cluster. Okay, now I have so much more to say about this, but let me just keep going. We're going to look at the book of Deuteronomy, and then I'm going to show you something interesting. Deuteronomy. Did you know in the Bible wine is a type of blood? I'm going to show you the verse that tells you that. Deuteronomy 32, verse 14. Butter of kine and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs and rams of breed of Bashan, and goats with the fat of kidneys of wheat, and thou didst drink the pure blood of the grape. Okay, so notice this advanced revelation that's not in any Bible but the King James Bible. It said that in the cluster, so read that again. It said that thou didst drink the pure blood of the grape. So, okay, so that's interesting. Why would that say that? That is an advanced revelation. It said the pure blood of what? Of the grape. Which is telling you what? What that's telling you is that if it's pure blood, it's likening when you squeeze the grape to wring out the juice, it's likening that to blood, which means that wine is a type of blood. See that? Now, you know what's so interesting about that? You know what's so fascinating about that? Did you know that wine, the blood is forbidden in the Bible? Did you know that? Uh, Blood, you are not allowed to eat blood in all three. In the Old Testament, twice it's mentioned before the law, in the law, and then after the law. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Now, I already know what these guys are going to do. They're going to say, well, that verse there is not talking about new wine. It's talking about strong drink. It's talking about actual liquor. Well, that couldn't be. That couldn't be. Because if you look in just 2 chapters before it, or 3 chapters in chapter 29, chapter 29 and verse 6, it says in verse 5, I have led you to 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxen old upon you, and thy shoe is not waxen old upon thy foot. Ye have not eaten bread, neither have you drinking wine or strong drink. Well, the thing here in Deuteronomy 32, it says that they drank the pure blood of the grape. But chapter 29 says that when they were in the wilderness, that's exactly what they didn't drink. There's a contradiction. Unless there is no contradiction except one that these backslidden apostate Christians are imagining in their head. Deuteronomy 32 is talking about pure wine, new wine. And just so that you understand, new wine is grape juice. This is grape juice. This isn't forbidden. There's nothing wrong with this because you're just taking the grapes. And if you go to the store and get it, you squeeze it. That's new wine. Now, what happened? Where do you even get wine from? Wine is when you leave the grape and you let it ferment and then you crush it. Well, now you have liquor, right? All right. Now let's look at this. So, if you have wine being a type of blood, blood is forbidden. You can't eat blood. Let's look at this. Leviticus 17. Leviticus 17. It's going to say in verse 11, for the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood. Well, they're going to say, well, when I'm drinking wine, I'm not drinking blood. That's not the point. The Bible is likening wine to blood, and blood is forbidden, which means you should not be drinking it because it's forbidden. Under the law, chapter 9 of Genesis. Chapter 9 of Genesis. I don't understand these people. They're like, oh, I just can't get drunk. Well, the only reason to drink wine is to get drunk. That's what it's privy to. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, well, I like the taste. Are you going to justify smoking too? Because you like how it makes you feel? Should you still smoke? You know what I mean? Genesis chapter 9 and verse 4. But the flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. All right. So let me just write 2 of these down real quick. Okay. So before the law and in the law, it is forbidden. It is forbidden. Isn't that interesting? You can't eat blood. The blood, the type of wine, the type of blood. See that? We'll look at one more. Acts. The book of Acts. What were the Gentiles told not to do? You know what I mean? These guys are like, oh, you just can't get drunk. Yeah, but why are you tempting God? Acts chapter 15 and verse 28. For it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that you abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled. See that? Acts 15:29. So even in the New Testament, you're not supposed to eat blood. Which means that if wine is a type of blood, it's forbidden. Did you ever stop to think about why? I'm going to show you in a minute. Go to the book of Genesis chapter 40. Let me show you something. Just want to show you how the Bible defines new wine again. When you where I'm getting it from, that you have to squeeze it, just so that I can show you. Genesis chapter 40 and verse 10. And in the vine, notice that carefully. And in the vine, there were 3 branches. And it was though as it budded, and her blossom shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. Notice, he says that this is, by the way, this is talking about the dream. It says, and there was a vine, there were 3 branches, and I brought forth ripe grapes. So I want you to notice that little detail there, that that grapes are not only, they're found in what's called a vine. A vine. Now, what did he do with Pharaoh? He took it ripe from the cluster. Where's new wine found? In the cluster. He grabbed it and he squeezed it, and it came and it went into the cup, and that was new wine. He did not drink alcohol, liquor, fermented liquor. He didn't drink that. See what I mean? Now, why is this detail about Joseph getting the grapes from the vine tree so important? Because what was the tree that Adam ate of? Let's look at this. Numbers chapter 6. I'm going to show you a bunch of verses on this. Numbers chapter 6. Numbers. What was forbidden for a Nazirite? Let's find out. Numbers chapter 6. Numbers chapter 6 and verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazirite to separate themselves unto the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink. Neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried. Look at this. All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree. What's the big deal? God told him you can't have any variation as a Nazirite of any of this stuff. Why is that forbidden? Well, you know why it's forbidden. It's forbidden because it's coming from the vine tree. And what's a vine tree? Grapes. What did Deuteronomy call it? The pure blood of the grape. So a Nazirite was forbidden to have any sorts of strong drink, wine, or any liquor of grape. Why? Because wine's a type of blood, and that's forbidden. So what's the tree that Adam ate out of? A vine tree. And what did God tell him? In the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Come on, man. Come on, man. This is not up for debate, my dude. This is not up for debate. Go to Judges chapter 9. Judges chapter 9. Judges. These guys are like, oh, you could drink it, just don't get drunk. Really? Do you think that when Noah came out of the boat, his first idea is, I want to get drunk? No, he had the grapes there for many months because they were in the ark so long. He ate it, boom, got drunk. You don't think he ate that because he wanted to? Come on. You should not be drinking it anyway because you don't know if you will. Oh, well, if I can handle it, it's no big deal. Yeah, everybody says that. That's the wisdom of the world. Well, a little bit won't hurt. You know what the Bible says about that? It says, be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. These guys want to justify drinking alcohol. They become the smartest guys in the world to explain away why it isn't evil, why it isn't sin. You shouldn't do it. You know, when Asians convert to Christianity, you know what's the first thing that they have a problem with? The first thing Asians have a problem with when they convert to Christianity in Asia is that they suddenly are now caught in a strait. Because in Asia, you have to drink every single night when you go to izakaya and go to those places so that you can hang out with your boss, because if you don't, it looks bad for the company. And when they convert to Christianity, now the Asian guy's in a strait because he doesn't want to drink, but they're going to make him drink because he knows it's wrong. Let me ask you a question. Let's use some common sense. Bible says, wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. What are the fruits of drinking? Is there anything good that comes out of drinking? Nothing. Come on, man. Really? Nothing. Nothing good comes out of drinking. You become abusive. You become naked. You don't know what you're gonna do. You start opening your mouth and saying stuff because you're not really in control of what you're doing. Oh, well, I can handle my drink. You don't know that. Alcohol and wine is one of the biggest idols in Christianity, and it's just so pathetic. Because that's the mentality of the world. Oh, a little bit won't hurt. What's the big deal? I'm not doing anything. I'm doing it in my own house. You're supposed to live your life as a Christian the same at home, the way you live outside. You're drinking at home because you're by yourself in your house? Dude, seriously? You should be the same person inside your home that you are outside your home. So you drink in secret away from people, but outside you don't drink because you know they're going to find it evil. That's hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy. You're not supposed to do that. Because even if nobody's watching, God sees you. Noah sins and has that encounter with Ham because he got drunk. Adam ate off a vine tree and disobeyed God. How many times in the Old Testament that somebody got messed up because they ate off the vine, they ate grape, fermented grape? Because it's negative. Mystery Babylon, the nations were drunk off the wine of her fornication. I know that passage is spiritual, but that wording is very specific. They got drunk off her wine. Because the only reason you drink wine is to get drunk, whether or not you're trying to. Why would you tempt God and then try to get? Oh well, I'll try to handle my drink as best as possible, and then I'll stop. That's how that works. That never works that way. Have you ever met a person addicted to drugs that was like, well, I only took a little bit to not get high, and then oh, but I got high. I didn't mean to do it. You know the videos of the dudes that are on fentanyl and they die and then they wake up and then they die again and they're like, oh well, I only took enough to just get me off, but then I died and came back. Christians are stupid. This is not up for debate, dude. This is not up for debate. Judges chapter 9. Judges chapter 9. I don't care if I lose subscribers for this. Older Christians are pathetic. I've seen what wine does to people. Alcohol. I've seen it. I'm actually out here talking to people and trying to learn about what happens to people. See, for me, I'm lucky that I lived a lost, clean life. So I didn't have to drink to find this stuff out. I never picked up a bottle in my life. I'm never going to. But I've talked to people who have family members and stuff like that, where the person was just, well, I'm just doing it at home and I can handle my drink. Well, let me tell you something. They couldn't handle their drink. They're alcohol addicts. Because sin is a slippery slope. You think you can control it, and then you just go down a tumbling stone. Right? Judges chapter 9. It's a parable. Now look what this parable shows up that they're speaking in Shechem. In verse 8. The trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them, and they said over unto the olive tree, reign thou over us. But the olive tree said unto them, should I leave my fatness wherewith by me they honor God and go to be promoted over the trees? And the trees said to the fig tree, come thou and reign over us. But the fig tree said unto them, should I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit and go to be promoted over the trees? So you're having a parable here, but notice how the trees here are in the Garden of Eden. In type, not literally. Verse 13, and the vine said unto them, should I leave my wine, which cheereth God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? You see that? The vine tree said, should I leave my wine? See that? So it's going to be Judges. Just read that chapter, Judges 9. And then you're also going to have Numbers 6, 1 to 3. Now, let me show you something else. Go to Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah 31. This is not up for debate. You should not be drinking. You should not be drinking. If a person, and I don't know about Europe and the UK, but American Christians are so slick. They're like, yeah, we're going to follow the Lord, but then they get really smart in trying to justify little idols like this. Dude, this is not up for debate. Jeremiah 31 in verse 29. In those days they shall say no more, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge. Did you ever stop to read this verse and think about who this is talking about? Do you read anywhere in the Old Testament about Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob eating a sour grape? Do you read anywhere in the Old Testament about them eating a sour grape and their children's teeth being set on edge like this? No. But you know who did eat a sour grape? Adam. He ate off the vine tree. Because vine has grape, and grape is forbidden. Because this blood of the grape, when you squeeze the grape, that's a picture of blood, and you can't have that if it's fermented, because that's what he ate off of. It's forbidden. Now I know what these guys are going to do. You're saying I can't eat grapes? 1 Timothy chapter 4. All things are sanctified by the word of God and prayer. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, you see what they do? They like to go in a little circle. You see what we're doing? We're talking about fermented liquor, not pure, not new wine, not grape juice. That's not what we're talking about. Adam ate a sour grape. And the way you know that is because that could be the only person this is talking about. Because it says in verse 30, but everyone shall die for his own iniquity. Well, Adam died for his own iniquity when he ate off the grape tree. Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge. Well, hold on. This sour grape is tied with death. And it says in the previous verse, every man shall die for his own iniquity. Well, one of the fathers of the Jews here ate a sour grape and died for his own iniquity. That this allegory is being made. Well, that's Adam. That can't be Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob. Because he ate a sour grape. Come on, man. This is not up for debate, man. All right, now let me review real quick before I go into their only counter argument. Wine. If you have wine and then you take it from the cluster, you take the grape and then you squeeze it. Let me add that verse. Genesis 40:11. Then that will give you grape juice. Now what Jesus did is that he supernaturally turned water into wine, but he did not drink fermented liquor. If he did, he would have broken the law of Moses. I'm going to show you how you know that. Now, we know that if you get this new wine, that's fine. But the grapes that come from the cluster are called pure blood of the grape. Right? Now, that's showing you that wine is a type of blood, and blood is forbidden dozens of times in the Old Testament, and it's forbidden twice in the New Testament, in the book of Acts. Right? So, if wine is a type of blood, that means, and blood is forbidden, that means that you should not be drinking wine. That means every Catholic that does a ritual where they're reciting themselves drinking wine, they're a bunch of fakers. Now, what makes it even worse is that the tree that Adam ate off was a vine tree. And God told them that was a tree of knowledge of good and evil. Thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. And he died. Because, let me actually show you another interesting detail. It just came to mind. Did you ever look to study the term dressers in the Bible? Like a dresser? No, not your clothing dresser. I'm talking about vine dressers. Let's look at the book of Deuteronomy. Adam ate a sour grape, and for that he died. Deuteronomy 28, verse 39. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt drink neither of the wine nor gather the grapes. The worms shall eat them. What do they have to do to the vineyards? They have to dress them. Dress them? That's a very strange wording. Let's look at another one. Let's look at Leviticus 25. Leviticus 25 in verse 11. A jubilee shall that 50th year be unto you. You shall not sow, neither reap that which groweth of itself in it, nor gather the grapes in it of thy vine undressed. Why are the term, so we know that a vine is a grape tree. Why is this term dressed and undressed being used for a vine? Well, if you're a farmer, you know why. If you know anything about farming, you know why. You have to dress those vineyards. You have to dress them, right? Go to Second Chronicles 26. Second Chronicles 26. Second Chronicles 26. Verse 10. It says, also, he built towers in the desert and digged many wells, for he had much cattle both in the low country and in the plains. Husbandmen also, and vine dressers. Well, isn't that interesting that the term dressers and undressing is used for a vine tree? And that's exactly what happened to Adam. He got undressed because wine in the Bible, wine is connected with nakedness. You know what happens when people go to bars? They drink, they get drunk, and what do? They fornicate because of nakedness. Adam, what did God say to him? Who told thee thou was naked? Because he ate off a vine tree. And so, ironically enough, his job as a husbandman was to dress the vine, and he himself got undressed. You understand what I'm saying? This is not up for debate, man. This is not up for debate. All right, now we're going to look at another detail now, and then we'll close it out here. I want to look at the book of Deuteronomy 14. So here's the proof text that these apostate, backsliding Christians use to prove that you can drink wine. This is their proof text. A pathetic one at that. Deuteronomy 14. Deuteronomy chapter 14. Deuteronomy 14 in verse 26. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen or sheep or wine or strong drink, whatsoever thy soul desireth, thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine household. All right, so this is their proof text to say that God, because every year God would give the Jews a license to drink strong drink one time. They're saying, yeah. That means that it wasn't wine. Strong drink isn't technically inherently forbidden. Are you sure? Let's look at the context first, and I'm going to show you how they just break their neck. Verse 23. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name there. Did they read that? Verse 24. And if the way be too long for thee, that thou art not able to carry it, or for the place be too far from thee, which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there. Verse 25. Then thou shalt turn it into money, and bind up the money in thine hand, and shall go into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. Did these guys read the passage before that? So before you even get into God is letting them drink strong drink once a year, so that means that I can too. You didn't read the part before it. The part before it says that if God allows them to do it, it has to be a place where he chooses. Are we in the law of Moses? He has to choose the place. If you do it outside there, it's forbidden. So first of all, Deuteronomy 14. Now I'm going to show you how much worse this gets. First of all, this is not permitting drinking. It was only once a year, and it was supervised directly by God. He had to choose the place where they could do it. And let me also tell you something. The people here who are allowed to do this are not the priests. Go to Leviticus chapter 10. Look what happens to someone when they drank in Leviticus chapter 10. A priest. Leviticus chapter 10, verse 9 or verse 8. And the Lord spake unto Aaron, saying, do not drink wine nor strong drink, thou nor thy sons with thee, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die, it shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. Well, they're going to say, well, no, that's talking about when they're in the tabernacle. That's not going to work. It says, do not drink wine nor strong drink, nor thy sons with thee when you go into the tabernacle. Sure, it's talking about that. But don't you know that you're a priest? It was forbidden for the Jews, the Levitical priests, to drink strong drink. You are a priest. Go there. Go to 1 Peter chapter 2. 1 Peter chapter 2. A Christian is a priest. You're a priest. Although it was forbidden for the Levites when they were in the because they're tending to the congregation of the tabernacle to drink strong drink. So that passage of Deuteronomy 14, first of all, it's not talking about the priests. It's not talking about them. Leviticus is talking about the priest. And you are a priest. 1 Peter chapter 2. 1 Peter chapter 2. And verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Now, I've already done a study on this chapter before. It's called The Priesthood of the Believer. I recommend that video. But this is talking about the Christians. You are spiritual priests. Go to Numbers 28. Numbers 28. Wresting the law of Moses to your own destruction. These people don't know the law of Moses. You know what a priest was supposed to do with the drink offerings? Numbers 28 and verse 7. And the drink offering thereof shall be the fourth part of an hin for the one lamb. In the holy place shalt thou cause the strong wine to be poured out unto the Lord for a drink offering. Oops. So in the law of Moses, the priests had to pour out the wine, the strong drink. They had to pour it out for a drink offering. They were not to drink it because he told them why. Because after a time he told them that if you drink it, you will die. Because it's forbidden. Because they're tending to him in the tabernacle, the place most holy. Well, if Adam was kicked out for eating that tree, that means when someone drinks it, they're not holy. And if they're sanctified, they eat that and they go in the tabernacle, boom, they drop dead. See that? You're not to be drinking wine, dude. No, just don't get drunk. Bible says abstain from all appearance of evil. If a person finds you outside in a bar drinking and you are calling yourself a Christian, don't you think they're going to laugh you in your face? They know you shouldn't be there. So why are you doing it? I'll just drink in my own house. Not going to work. God sees you doing it. You shouldn't be doing it. Wicked. You open that door, you let in a little sin, and then boom, metastasizes. It grows and grows and grows. See, that's not just alcohol. That's anything. That's anything. If you let in a little bit of that thing, it festers and grows until you're suddenly addicted to it. See what I mean? Not just drinking. A lot of other things, right? Let's look at some verses here. Proverbs 23. Proverbs 23. And verse 29. Who hath woe? Who hath sorrow? Who hath contentions? Who hath babblings? Who hath wounds without cause? Who hath redness of eyes? They that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine. Look not thou upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth its color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright. At the last it biteth like a serpent and stingeth like an adder. Thine eyes shall behold strange women, and thine heart shall utter perverse things. 100% true. If you've ever dealt with a drunk. Yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth down in the midst of the sea, or as he that lieth upon the top of a mast. They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I will seek it yet again. Now, you might read this if you're a person that hasn't drank before. If you haven't had any problems with this, you might not know what this is talking about. But I know perfectly well what this is talking about because I've talked to Christians where they have this happen. They know somebody that they drunk. That person gets in a fight, and then the person wakes up, and they had no idea that they were in a fight with somebody. And then you know what they do? You think the guy who wakes up with like scars and stuff because he got beat and he messed up his head and all that stuff and he fell and whatever because he was drunk, did he sit down and say, no, I shouldn't drink again? No, you know what he did? He goes and drinks again. That's why it says in the passage, I will seek it yet again. They don't work. Don't do it. Don't drink. Proverbs 20, the wisest man that ever lived, Solomon, if he's telling you that he couldn't handle it, why are you going to do it? Why are you going to do it? Huh? Verse 1, wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. So, close it out on there. This is not up for debate. You should not be drinking. These lost people and these stupid religions like the Catholics like to condemn born-again Christians because they say, you people can't make up your mind if it's okay to drink or not. Yeah, because the backslidden apostate Christians who want to do all their own sins, but they don't want to they want to tell you what to do, but they don't want to do it themselves. Don't do it, man. Wine, alcohol, beer, all that stuff. It's not good for you. This new wine. I showed you from the law of Moses that a priest would die if they had a priest would die if they drank when they were tending to the tabernacle. Now, if Jesus is your high priest, do you think that he could drink actual wine when he was down here as a prophet, getting ready to ascend into the heavenly tabernacle? He shall be called a Nazarene. Jesus is under the Nazarite oath. He's not supposed to be drinking. It's forbidden. He's the last Adam. You know what Adam did? He ate the sour grape off the vine tree. Jesus is the last Adam. You think he's going to do the same thing that Adam did? No, man. So, close it out on there. Pray God bless you from the video. This video will probably give me some hate comments or whatever. I don't care. So, make the board available. Grace be to you all.